rocking and rolling, dude.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. I want to leave. I don't want to stop watching this.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's so interesting.
I wish.
I've watched the whole series 6 times.
6 times?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm pissed off that number 5 isn't up there because it was up there earlier.
Yeah.
It's fucking frustrating. But I'm impressed that right now, dude, my phone is like connected to my camera so I can operate that, and my YouTube is up on my fucking Apple TV right now.
That's awesome.
Through my phone, although I could probably just pull it up directly.
Dude, that'd be so cool.
Through the Apple TV and not use my phone. But my point is my phone's doing some shit right now. It's multi-purpose like a motherfucker. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me back on after my epic flop last time.
That clip was awesome, though.
It was awesome. I was like, I looked back at it and I was like, it couldn't have gone any better for that situation. It just worked out perfect.
It happens.
It does.
So this is called the what?
Fall of Kobal.
Fall of Kobal.
Yep. So basically, it's all about the elitists in the country, the world, everything that they're doing. It's based a lot around the pedophilia, the adrenochrome type stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's gotten to adrenochrome yet.
No.
You mentioned some of it.
Yeah, this is, what'd you say, this is episode 6?
This is 6, I think, right now.
Okay, yeah, I think they really get into the adrenochrome in 8.
Or we might be on 7 right now. I think we just finished 6.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
We're on 7 right now.
Yeah.
Because skip 5.
That is so weird that they took out 5, though, because like I said, I looked at it today, and 5 was up there.
Yeah. It was up there, yesterday whenever you first sent it to me, and then I was like, all right, well, let me just watch it this morning, and then, so I'm watching it, 5 was on there. It said 10 fucking videos.
Yeah.
And then, in the midst of me watching it,
it disappeared.
It disappeared. Like, it skipped from 4 to 6. Which is annoying. Oh, this is talking about Operation Paperclip right here.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that. I just know that picture. That's all those Russian scientists.
Yep. Now, I mean, it's possible that could have been taken down, too, if the lady... Yeah, I think if YouTube would have taken it all down, they would have taken down more than one.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
We'll find it. I think it'll pop back up.
I do, too. There might have been some misinformation in there, because from what I've seen...
Is she pretty good about trying to be on her shit?
On her shit, yeah. And, I mean, even at the beginning... like you saw at the very first episode, she said, if I'm infringing any of your copyright laws to anyone, message me and I'll take the video down or I'll change it. There's possible that
she's doing that.
That she's doing
changing
that.
It.
Yeah, so it might not be a YouTube thing, but the fact that, like I said, it was our first video. This playlist has been our first video 3 months ago, and it already has like 3 million views.
This has only been up for 3 months?
Yeah.
Dude.
It already has 3 million views, and it's shadow banned. You can't find it. Like, you can't search it up.
You did just say it was 3 months.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
It's wild.
It's some interesting stuff, dude.
It's so interesting, and, like, that's what I say, like, it's something that I wish everybody would watch.
Yeah.
Honestly, because even if they don't believe it,
just entertain it.
It's entertain it.
At least like the thought experiment. But there is that argument. It's like, well, it's just a fucking waste of time if you are just entertaining. Like, I've never watched a flat Earth documentary. Like,
I haven't either.
It won't. I won't entertain that. Although I would be interested to hear their points. I've heard some of them, but they're just.
I would be interested to hear the points, and the reason I don't follow that so much is because it doesn't. In the end, it doesn't matter if the Earth is flat or not. Yeah. The only thing that would matter is if they've been lying to us.
Now, could you argue in the end, does it matter if 5 families run everything because they've been running everything all this fucking time anyway?
Do I think it matters, or do you like?
Yeah, well, of course it matters, but but does it matter? You know what I'm saying? You ever think about that?
It's just weird to me. It's weird to me how. I want to know, because this has been happening for so long. I want to know where these people came into power. So where the Rothschilds came into power, where the Rockefellers came into power, where they got the ultimate power.
2 things that fucked me up when they were talking about the Federal Reserve, right? Which I already knew about the Federal Reserve. Like, I know that's a private entity, right? That's what I already know that. And then, like, there's like a lot of information out there right now talking about how, like, anytime we're invading a country and we're bombing a country, right? It's usually
the bank pops up there.
Well, it was because they don't bank with the Rothschilds. Yeah. Like, they're not part of the bank.
They don't want it.
There's only like 4 or 5 of them, right? Yeah. But then, like, they're talking about whenever the reserve was first, being like pitched, essentially, there were these 3 guys who collectively had like $500 million at the time, which was. Might as well be like, I think, like $300 billion or some shit now. Something crazy. And they weren't about it. And then, and I want to fact check this more, but it said like those 3 guys were ironic. They all died at the same time when the boat that they were on crashed into a fucking iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Bro, what? Do you cause a catastrophe like that? Which, I mean, how many people died on the Titanic? Do we know?
I don't know.
It's like 1,000 or 1,500 or
I think it was over 1,000.
it was a lot of people, right? But in the grand scheme, right? It's like one death is a tragedy, and like was it like a million is just a statistic or some shit like that.
Exactly.
So it's like to them, if people are just pawns and you know what I mean, and you're just a means to an end, and also if you want to kill somebody and make it not look like you're only killing them, you got to kill a whole bunch of people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then they're just collateral damage.
Collateral damage.
Right?
That's what I mean. That's the same way with war. I mean,
Yeah.
9/11.
Yeah. So, but I would have never in a million years thought that the Titanic sinking could have been like an inside thing. Like that's just been this thing
Well, that's when you
ever
say that
since we were
because
little.
until you,
We were little kids. It's just like, yeah, man, like this awful thing happened and the Titanic sank, and it was just it was an error in judgment because they tried to turn, but they turned too slow and ended up like ripping a huge fucking hole in it. But if they would have hit it head on, and it's like, okay, well, I wasn't there. This is all secondhand information. Maybe that's all bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe that was just the story that was just told to it. But
I've never looked into the Titanic to be quite honest with you.
That was just. I was like, what?
And I've never until you honestly just said this, I've never even thought of it as a conspiracy.
She said that.
Did she?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I've watched this so many times, but there's so much on there.
Yeah, dude,
it's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, the things that pop out to me are going to be different
than what pop out to me.
Exactly, and that's so.
Well, it's my mind's so focused on the pedophilia stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that is the number one problem. Like with all of it,
That's huge.
It's such a disturbing thing.
Dude,
like,
these pedophile symbols that the FBI knows about, and like what?
Yeah,
What?
well, they know them, and they have their own code for pedophilia, and that's
Yeah.
what came out with the WikiLeaks, with Hillary
Yeah.
Clinton stuff. It was in the Obamas and the Podestas. It was all code.
Yeah. Now I think, and I don't know if maybe there was some photoshopping going on or something. I think some of the symbolism that she was throwing out that is kind of sprinkled into Disney. I don't think all that's real. Because I did look up the Little Mermaid cover and I didn't see any dicks in the thing. Like she had a very clearly defined like dick in the castle of the Little Mermaid, and I looked it up, bro. It wasn't in there.
So I saw that.
I can see what you're seeing, but it's not.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I saw that a long time ago.
The dick in the little
when I was young.
In the Little Mermaid?
No, like okay, so not on the actual thing. I've never seen a Little Mermaid.
I'm just saying in that one particular thing, and then she like pointed out some spots on
the swastika on the dog.
Was it a
It's
swastika?
supposed to be a swastika. That I said was far fetched too.
I think there's a couple things you're just kind of reaching right there with some of those sexual like innuendo symbols. You know?
I agree with that. And the Donald Duck or the Donald Duck thing where he's like touching the wiener. It looks like.
What was the Mickey Mouse thing like? Basically holding like a dildo, like.
Oh, Minnie's arm or whatever.
Yeah.
How it looked like a penis head.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's. I mean.
Like.
I mean, it did look like it. But
Some of it did, but is that shit just a little overreaching on that part? You think?
I would say yes to some extent, but I've gone back and I watched TV shows that I used to watch when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I pick up on innuendo and everything like that, it doesn't surprise me if they're
There's
putting
a lot
stuff
of shit in there.
Dude,
Dude.
so much. It's
Also
SpongeBob. Dude, I was watching SpongeBob because I
Tons.
literally heard, like, when you're older, go back and watch SpongeBob, dude, all the time. It's just sprinkled in there. Just
Tons.
So I'm like,
there is a lot of that, dude. So
and Dan Schneider was the Nickelodeon. The guy that ran Nickelodeon or created it or whatever, he got I believe he stepped down or got in trouble for
did he?
touching something.
Dude,
the girls.
Yeah.
What was that show? Like,
there's a lot of
Zoe
adult
101.
humor in kid
It was
things.
one of those girls.
You know what I mean? Like I kind of get it in some of the movies because like adults are watching it with the
Yeah.
kids but there is a lot of shit in there. Dude. I've gone back and watched. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Like
For real? No, I wish I could think of what it was right now, but I went back and watched. What TV show was that? It was something I used to love as a kid, and I went back and watched it the other day. It might come to me, but it was literally I was counting probably every scene. So like whenever they'd switch over, so if they'd have a scene in a house, there'd be one innuendo thrown. And if there was like, and then they'd like pan off, and then they'd be at a different part. If they'd be at a store or something like that, there'd be a sentence or dialogue with some innuendo in that. So it was like literally they're just plastering it in every single scene, or not scene, but every transition.
Well, dude, you know the things we watch growing up really do influence us,
Yeah.
right? And
Oh yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure I read something. It was saying how Harry Potter has essentially influenced, you know, an entire generation of
Oh
just
yeah.
just more progressively, you know, freer thinking people, right? Which is like, you're a little bit younger than me, so I don't know if you're like really hit by the Harry Potter
I
train.
was actually I was probably 9 or so when it was really blowing up. I was the right age to start watching it, but
Right, right. But the book, like, I think I was in sixth grade. Yeah, I think I was in sixth grade when like the books first dropped, and like that's when, and then like the movie started coming out like every year, maybe somewhere around that time, right? So like, yeah, you were young enough for it, right? But I don't know if it like caught your generation or not. I'm sure some.
it
I'm
did.
sure it did some for
It did,
sure.
it never caught me though. I don't.
It wasn't your thing. Okay. It wasn't. I never read the books. I watched all the
Mm,
movies, right? But you start, you know, stories get told. I don't know, I'm gonna have to go back and
it's
watch
the
this.
adrenochrome.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Oh shit, Satan.
Yeah.
But dude, like movies and like these things, like they do influence the way we think, right?
Mm,
And if you like look back and like a lot, well, let me say something. Like a lot of stories follow a similar like archetype, right? Like Joseph Campbell's like the hero of a thousand faces, where he's basically talking about like the hero's journey and these different things. Like, you know, like whether it's Star Wars or whether it's fucking Harry Potter, or a lot of these things are similar stories, or whether
hmm
it's fucking Jesus Christ. Like a lot of the stories are the same. You know what I
Well,
mean? You
I
just
can't follow you on that because I haven't seen Star Wars either.
That's totally fine. But the point is, there's like a hero, and like they have to overcome some
Overcomes.
shit,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they take this journey. Like the details may differ as far as
Oh yeah,
certain
but
things. May be,
inevitably it's the
it's
good guy, the bad guy,
yeah.
and then they're trying
The
to
theme is the
the
same.
same.
A
Yeah.
lot of the things are the
I
same.
see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, these like this structure of storytelling has been around for like thousands and thousands. It's like forever. But oh yeah, that's the thing.
That's the Zuckerberg thing.
I wonder if that Zuckerberg thing though is
It says, although many humans find participating. Oh, there it
oh
is. Go ahead.
participating and observing sexual congress both pleasurable and fulfilling. I sometimes find it challenging to observe the subsequent removal of adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome from the smaller
Chrome.
participants. Ingesting the adrenochrome, however, is as enjoyable human activity as any I have yet engaged in.
Yeah, I wonder if that's real. Did he really put that on social? He just seems
Wait,
too smarter for that. Too smart for that. But maybe he's just the arrogance, like you said.
yeah, I think it's arrogance. I think they just want to see what they can get away with.
Yeah,
And I think that I would like to fact check more.
yeah.
I would
But
like to see if there's an actual archive of the exact post, because there are websites out there where you can actually get on and see every archive
yeah,
that has ever
really?
happened.
Wow,
Yeah,
I
so
know
I
that.
mean, unless he has his, I mean, I'm sure if
He's
he has
on-
something like that,
But
he's
he
on another
like
level.
yeah, like when you're the puppet master of the thing, you know what I mean.
Yep.
You know some back doors, just like the Matrix, dude. Like
Yeah,
the older I get, and the more I watch the Matrix, and the more I experience
you realize
life,
how
dude, it's just there's levels on levels on levels.
Yeah.
Like if
you
you
realize
just
how
really want to dive
close.
into that.
Well, there's how close it is to some of the stuff that's going on
Yeah,
too. Like,
because like on the surface level, it's like there's the AI thing, and then there's like, you know, the people versus machines thing, and there's like the whole science fiction thing there. But then then you start deconstructing the metaphor, right? And this like just from just general society, right, and just being a drone in society,
Mhm.
and then like there's like the religious undertones, and then it gets even deeper, like once you start getting into sublayers of that, right? But I want to finish my thought real quick on the Harry Potter thing. Like, so there was that constant conflict between like humans and witches, and then
Mhm.
there was like the half witches, half humans that they called like mudbloods. So there was like this whole undertone of like teaching people to like accept others and like not be racist and shit like that. So I mean, I could definitely see how you could drop fucking sexual innuendos into
it's just all
shows and
subliminal.
stuff.
Yeah, it's subliminal.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, also think about this, and I just had this thought: who is most likely to be raised by television? Who's most likely to watch a lot of television? Lower income.
Lower income, poverty.
I mean, everybody watches TV. Don't get
But
me
the
wrong.
people that grasp onto it are usually the
And who
ones
watches
in
more?
broken homes.
Right. How many kids were raised by the television? The
TV parents.
Yeah,
Literally TV parents.
yeah, like that's your fucking babysitter, bro. It's
Yep.
like I watched a lot of film growing up. I
Me
watched
too.
a ton of film,
Me too.
and there's been some studies and stuff that have shown that like people who are in like an environment of more scarcity, where there's just like not a lot of resources, and you're just like poor essentially.
Well, they have to adapt. I mean, that's how they bring themselves up.
Well, people like they actually mature faster.
Much faster.
You enter puberty faster.
Much
you,
faster.
You know what I mean? And it's like this biological thing of where you have less, so life is shorter. So then you accelerate,
You get through it quicker.
so that way you can
Yeah.
procreate, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
you see, so if you kind of think about that. Because I've had this thought before, right? If you look at like lower income areas, right, and you kind of think about that, like, okay, well, let's just say there is that, like, we know that, like, so they're gonna enter puberty faster, and they're gonna become probably more like sexually driven faster, and then if you have all these sexual undertones, kind of like pushing them
Yeah.
in that direction. And I'm just like playing this out right now in my head, but also, you ever thought about that? Like, if you do mature faster, you think that's maybe why? I think this is like a generational thing, like past from but like there are like you look in like really poor communities and like some of the best athletes come out of there. You know what I mean? And it's because like they just physically develop faster.
There's two types of people too. There's the people that'll sit and watch TV, and then there's the kids that'll go out and they'll play basketball or they'll play football. And I mean, like you said,
Well, even if you're watching the TV, I'm just saying, like, if you enter puberty faster and
you're just talking about genetically?
just physically developed, if you're 18 years old, but you have like the physical genetics of like a 25-year-old,
yeah.
which we see that all the fucking
All the
time.
time.
You know what I mean? Is a part of that because like your development was accelerated because
I
of
think so.
because of your environment, like lack of resources, and then that's just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if we show that kids do enter puberty faster, they mature faster because of that, like.
And they just, it's all about adaptation to where they're. I agree with you. I've never really thought of it like that.
I think of it. I'm just thinking of it right now, man. Like while we're spit. Well, because also like Dr. Christopher Ryan, he wrote this book called Sex at Dawn, and he's kind of essentially talking about how his argument was like we're not meant to be monogamous, and in general, humans like over their lifetime aren't like you don't just find one human,
Yeah.
and like you only have sex with that one person your entire life because like you break up with people and it's like a process. But he's talking about in communities where there's like a lot of like sexual proclivity going on and like a lot of different partners and different things. Like the men tend to have bigger genitalia, right? Because there's a lot of competition and drawing. And then where there's not like a lot of sexual proclivity and like there's kind of like a more like secure environment, like those primates have smaller genitalia, right? Kind of that whole.
What's the alpha and the beta?
Well, is that alpha and beta though? I think that's just talking about like the amount of sexual partners that are available. So if you have a whole bunch of men. And
Yeah, but in the animal kingdom, that's what makes them. That's what gives them power is the mating.
Well, yeah.
So it's like
Right. So that's the point. Like, you don't have to have as big of genitalia to attract a whole bunch of women if there's not as much competition for you. Right?
Yeah, because it's more scarce. So they're naturally going to go
Right.
to you.
So
even
it's just
though
like
you're
it just
hung
like
like a field
affects the development. My whole point is like it all just affects like the development. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, the littlest stuff, like you said on TV and stuff like that, that can.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, that is. I actually watched that YouTube video. That is a boy. Well, they say boy. It looks like it could be a man or a boy. He's climbing out of Buckingham Palace right there. He's got a white sheet, and he is climbing out of one of the top windows in Buckingham Palace. You can go on YouTube and watch the video right now.
Now, I would like to note that for years and years and years, we were talking about this, right, for forever, people have been, like, molesting little kids, people in power, forever. And it's never even been, like up until within the last 100 years of art, and I'm just trying to throw out a number, like, I don't know if, but, like, I mean, there's been a lot of people, there's been a lot of, like, having, babies with underage people. You know what I mean? Like, forever. Like, back in early America, like, 13-year-old girls were raped all the time by older men.
Well, they were getting married at that age,
and they were getting married at that age.
And getting pregnant, like.
Exactly, raising kids. And that was normal.
It is normal, and that makes me think, too, about what you said, like, with the genetics and adapting and everything. What kind of position were they in back then where they could procreate at 11 and 12 years old? Because there's been
that's the thing. Things were rough back then,
That's
bro.
what I'm saying. So were they maturing that much faster where they could procreate at that, like, young age?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's so screwed up.
It's so crazy. Cause, dude, I mean, all of these philosophers that Socrates, Plato, right? You know, like those guys molested little boys.
Yeah.
All the time. If you were
All the time.
studying under one of those motherfuckers, you're probably getting molested by them, right? Like all the Greeks and like they were a bunch of pedophiles.
And they're all, I mean, most of them Catholic too. Like,
Yeah.
didn't they have a pretty good tie-in with
I think so.
the Vatican?
Yeah, dude. Where's the Vatican's in Italy, right? Oh, there we go.
Speak of the
No, they were showing something of like of them making like
the devil. Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't think that was real. I think that was fake.
I think that was fake too. Though
And also, if you do it this way, this is love.
that's what I said too.
That
That's
one's love.
And then
This it's like
yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that was
I
bullshit.
thought that was far fetched too.
Yeah, there's a
But the serpent statues and stuff in
is that real?
yeah.
There are serpents and shit in there?
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Dude, you go to you travel all the time. Denver Airport.
Mhm.
The big horse out front. They call him Blucifer because he has the red eyes that glow.
No, I've never been outside of the Denver.
Okay.
I've only laid over in the port.
We were laid over.
I've never been outside of it.
We were laid over there when we went to Los Angeles a couple months back.
Yeah.
We were there for 4 hours, and I wanted to look around and stuff at the artwork. Dude, some of the artwork they have there, terrifying.
Really?
Dude, go online and look up artwork in Denver, Colorado airport.
Really?
International, yeah.
I would do
It's
it
like-
from
it's
my
like-
phone. Oh, I got my computer right
Yeah,
here. Let's
it's
look
like
it up. Let's look it up.
it's like people with like gas masks and like kids like running, and then they just had them up for
Dude,
display, man.
This shit is fucking interesting.
Well,
dude. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's so sickening, but I'm so glad people are starting to open up. Like, I'm getting messages from people on Facebook and stuff, like older family members, friends, stuff like that, and they're sending me all this pandemic stuff because they know I've been into conspiracy stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't even read it.
Have you watched the pandemic thing?
No, 'cause I figured it was going on, and I
Yeah.
don't. I got so much stuff going on with the pedophilia and the
You're like,
the royals.
I'm just totally
the British
consumed with
rule.
this
I'm
whole
like-
pedophile thing right now, dude.
Yeah.
I can't possibly, fix any other world problems.
Well, the
until I
pedophilia
fix this
thing,
one first.
the pedophilia thing didn't really strike with me. Like I've always thought
Well-
it was sickening, and I've wanted. Ultimately, I'd like to do something about it. Everybody would,
Well,
but
Ashton Kutcher basically stopped acting
because of it,
because so
Yeah.
he can stop sex trafficking, right? And it's interesting he became so passionate about sex trafficking, considering when you kind of put how deep he is in the Hollywood scene, right? So it's just like, did he get deep into Hollywood and realize how fucked up it was? He's like, hold up,
maybe like Mel,
I'm
Brad Pitt.
I'm cool on these movies right now. I got some work to do.
Yeah.
And then he's just been doing that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's just such a. Is that them?
This says, artwork.
Okay, yeah. So click on some of those. They're different ones, but this is the artwork they have in Denver Airport.
A lot of fires and shit.
Fires. Where's the look at that one? Why the hell would they have that?
Was it like a Nazi?
It's like a Nazi
fucking-
with a AK-47. It looks
like
like
a sword
and a sword and
a gas mask of some sort. It looks
yep,
like.
and a gas
And
mask
there's
with a
like-
rainbow going over the top. And is that a kid
Rainbow-
on the bottom left?
Yeah, like a kid. It looks
Like
like
cowering?
hunkered up. There's a few, like a baby,
Yeah.
and there's
So they claim
Kind
that
of in
that's
a
for the
fetal
new
position.
world order is what they
and
claim
then,
that.
And then this
what
thing
it's
almost
about.
looks like a Last Supper.
It looks like the
kinda like
Last
a
Supper, except the
thing-ish.
forest is burning.
Forest is burning. We got some birds in here, some whales, different animals. Looks like a Native American
In the
down
front.
here. A Dutch girl, maybe. A
Like laying on the table.
almost looks like they're in a coffin, kind of.
Yeah, it does. Look. Oh, yeah, because look at that one. They do. They look like they're.
Yeah,
And
then
she's laying like that with her hands over.
that kind of looks like some horns.
Those look like a rib cage
or
from
rib cage,
like a
yeah, like an
big
elephant or
elephant.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Wow, this is some interesting shit. Oh, is this the whole thing right here?
that's another one. Oh, that's just another one.
What the fuck, man? Yeah, this is fast. Man, symbolism it really is everywhere.
That's what Mel Gibson said. I believe it was Mel Gibson. He said symbolism will be their downfall.
Yeah, because they just like to do. It said that on there.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Yep. Maybe it wasn't Mel who said that. I know you said somebody said it on here, but
I don't know, man. But
I looked at it and I was like, yeah.
all I know
it
is
will be.
even before watching this, right? I kind of went down this little rabbit hole and it was talking about, Bill and Melinda Gates and, Bill Gates and, all the fucked up shit they do with their vaccines, and the sterilization, and basically just like
And how much
bullying third world countries, and like they're going to like India, and like fucking up whole communities and shit. And people forget about all the antitrust laws and different things he was like wrapped up in, like lawsuits and whatnot, whenever he was this ruthless fucking businessman. Like, people forget about that.
Bill
right?
Gates is not a good man.
He took like the Rockefeller playbook, right, to fix
I don't
his
think
image.
He's a good guy.
So yeah, so then you give the TED Talk in 2015, kind of predicting it, and then I should have looked it up. What's that fucking thing that he held? It was like that committee. It was some committee. Bill Gates. What the fuck was it called? Something 21 or some shit like that.
I have no idea, honestly. The Bill Gates thing didn't even like pop up in my brain until like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just not getting on Bill Gates, dude.
Well, let's say I'm so deep into some of this other stuff. There's stuff that has been popping up. My buddy's like, he's like, it's just gonna make me mad because it's probably stuff I've already told you and you just didn't listen. I was like, yeah, it might be, but no. But I was saying the thing that really clicked for me with the pedophilia stuff is after I watched that documentary that Corey Feldman put out.
Oh, dude.
It was so good, man.
Oh, and Elijah Wood,
Yep.
was like, yeah. Like, that's some real
what
shit.
they do, yeah.
Yeah, he substantiated that claim. What the fuck?
The boys' club is what they call it in Hollywood.
I almost just want to yell for Deja. That's what I do when I can't. Deja! Mom! Meatloaf! Fuck! Now! What is she doing in there all day? What the fuck was that thing called?
Just type in Bill Gates. Is it a foundation or was it a?
No, it was some.
Just type in committee. See what it says.
I can't spell.
Now, is this gonna pull this up on the podcast?
What? What they can't?
Nah,
they can't see what I'm doing right here on this. This is just. They're just along for the ride, brother. This is just us. I'm so tempted to get up and, let's say Bill Gates predicts virus. Coronavirus. Bill Gates predicts pandemic in 2050. Yeah, okay, I got that part. But what else did he do? What the fuck? I'm gonna be so mad at myself whenever I can't, because I can't think of this name and I don't have somebody to like.
Have you ever seen that movie or heard of it? I know you haven't seen it because it's only in Europe and Asia, but it's on Netflix. It's called My Sweet Terrius.
Oh, what's that?
It's a movie about a virus that strikes. The movie was made in, I believe, 2018, and it's about a virus that strikes that takes down basically the whole world. And I watched the scenes, and in the dialogue, they're like, "It's a coronavirus, which we will not have a cure for. It'll be unlike any other strain that we've ever seen." And this movie was made like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were talking, and they said it'd be 2020. They said in 2020, virus is coming and stuff like that. I was just like, and then I looked for the actual movie to find it, but it's not in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could probably type it in on Google and find just that clip, unless it was taken down. But
do you really think? We like to believe that we have access to all the information that we want.
No, we don't.
Right?
Not even close.
Like, do we? Because like we know that certain countries, like Korea, for example, like they can't get all the information.
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, there's
like we know that. So why do we think that we're any different and we're not getting? Event 201 is what he called that.
Okay.
Event 2.
I've never even heard of that.
So check this. So in 2015, right?
Yeah.
He did the whole TED Talk and shit, and he's talking about, virus is the biggest threat. And then a couple years later, when was this? It says Event 201 was a tabletop exercise that simulated a global pandemic, which resulted from a new coronavirus. The program was hosted in October by the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security in partnership with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and World Economic Forum. invite-only event featured medical professionals, policy experts, and business analysts, all focused on how different institutions would respond to the onset of a deadly virus. So they included all of these fucking people as like a committee to talk about how you would prepare if something like this would happen, right? And then you start, again talking about their track record with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with all these vaccines and different things, and how now the whole narrative is like we need to keep everything shut down until we have a vaccine, which could be like a year or two away. And the whole time he's been like he's been working on this vaccine, like this mandatory vaccine. And it's like, I don't know what the implications of I'm not going to get the fucking vaccine if there is one.
No,
like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, dude, like all these things just seem to keep, everything lines up, right? And like, I hate politics are just naturally like interweaved into the whole thing. Like it's just a part of it. It's like a base. Power. It's like, well, like politics are like a base layer. So when you start talking about people, you start talking about politicians. And I hate right now. I hate being that like whoever the president is, it's always on the tip of everybody's fucking tongue. Yeah. They always say. So I don't like being, well, the media this and Trump that. Like I don't hate being, but if you do start looking, like I'm not really for, like I want the president to do well, like whoever the fucking president is, like because I want us to win.
It was the same with Obama. Like I wanted him to do well, and I wanted him to do the best. I didn't vote for him, but he's the president,
right?
Like
exactly.
He's
it just is what it is, right? So so like whenever you do look at the situation, and like in the beginning, obviously all these people have information that we don't have as common people. So in the beginning, we're being told that it's not a big deal, and you don't even need masks and blah blah blah, and all of this is being relayed essentially by Trump because he's been instructed by his experts, right? Which is like Fauci. Right? Mm-hmm. Who is in with like Bill and Melinda Gates and that whole foundation, right? Like they're all in bed with each other essentially, and the CDC too. And and here's the thing: and even in this documentary, they're talking about how all these different organizations, like within the government, like the FDA, and they listen all these other ones, like they're all owned by like the Rockefellers essentially. You know what I'm saying? I've never trusted the FDA. Like that's all. American Heart Association, FDA, all that's all bullshit.
Well, there's so much that the FDA passes that's so unhealthy for you.
Oh my
And then
God.
there's stuff like, I mean, for marijuana I don't think will ever be approved by the FDA. But I mean,
it's insane. It's insane, right?
But they'll do Vicodin. They'll pass that, no problem.
And it was interesting. They talked about there was patents on HIV, Ebola,
Zika,
and then
H1N1.
Was it H1N1?
Well, there's patents on all those. There's probably
you say if there's patent, yeah. So I would like.
Well, if there's patents, that means, well, one, it means it's man-made. If it's patent, you can't patent something that's not man-made.
Right. So, but what exactly about it is patented is what I want to know.
That's what I want to know.
That's what's curious. That's what I'm curious about.
Unless it's the ingredients that they put in to make the coronavirus.
Right.
But that's so scientific beyond my.
Yeah, we'd have to get deep into that. But like these organizations, like they're obviously like they're not. I mean, they're not like the most innocent things in the world, right? They can be corrupted, right? And they can drive the narrative, and they can give false information and shit, right? So Fauci is basically in bed with all of this shit, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's influencing what's going on in policy and what's going on with the current administration. And then, so if you want to make Trump look bad, right, you give him bad information and then let him present it, right? Yep. So then you start like killing his shit. And I've heard this several times, like, and maybe it's true, but like essentially, I mean, you can't blame Trump for listening to his experts. No. That's what I would do as the president, right? That's what anybody would do. Yeah, because
anybody that goes in as a president is pretty much knows what we know.
Right.
When they go in, they know what we know.
But until you get debriefed.
Until you get the brief,
right?
Yeah.
And then so it's like, all right, so he's listening to his experts, and like, so, but they're doing this to try to maybe like character assassinate him and fucking, or make him look even worse or discredit him even more in the public.
I think so.
But if he's just listening to his experts, then it just makes them look bad, right? So
no, because the mainstream people that aren't like us, that don't follow this type of stuff, they're gonna think
But I think
When
there
Trump
are,
says it, it's true. If
I,
Trump says it, that's what his.
but I
That's
think but there are a lot of smart people.
there's a lot of smart
There are a
people,
lot
but
of dumb
just because they're
people.
smart doesn't mean they're open-minded.
Yeah, but I think when you see all this play out, and when everybody's affected by this shutdown right now,
Yeah, the
right?
whole world.
So it's just like, I think you can start maybe figuring out some things for yourself, hopefully. Either way, let's just say a lot of people start realizing, okay, well, maybe he's not as dumb as everybody. And I'm not saying he's the smartest man in the fucking world, because he does some knucklehead shit for sure, dude. But, like, maybe he is just letting those people kind of, like, let themselves, hang
let 'em hang
themselves out to
themselves.
dry, right? Because then Fauci goes back and he's like, well, masks don't work, but then he goes back and says, oh, they do work, and then now we need to wear masks and we need to keep things shut down, and it's going to be at least a year until we have a vaccine, and the vaccine even then won't be safe. It's going to be probably 2 years until we have a safe vaccine.
Well, I mean, anything to get Trump out right now is kind of, I think, what they're going for.
Right.
I mean, that's what. Do you think that the whole thing? Because I've heard both sides of it. Do you think that China released the coronavirus because they're pissed off about the tariffs that Trump has been putting on them?
I have
So
not
they're
heard
trying
that.
to get him out of office instead because they know if they get a new president in there, he's not going to have the tariffs that he's putting on him. Because he really raped him over the coals with the tariffs and stuff like that. But
I always say anything's possible. Maybe.
or do you think it was done by our government to get Trump out of office so he can't expose the pedophilia? That's what I'm leaning towards.
That's what you're leaning towards.
That's what
us
I'm
to
leaning
stop.
towards. Because I think come November, he's going to put all this out, and I think it's just.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to do it slow
Yeah.
because regular people can't handle this.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I told a person that didn't follow it to sit down and watch this, like most of the mainstream, average Joe, he's construction job, he gets home, he wants to sit on the couch, drink a beer, and watch.
Yeah.
Watch.
Well, this shit is so
TV.
alluring, but it's also so confusing.
It is. That's why I said I've watched it 6 times, and I still get bits and pieces mixed up because I'm sitting there. I'm trying to do it so many times that it becomes like a second nature.
You're
just
trying to
the
be thorough.
information.
Yeah.
I want to be thorough.
Yeah, man, but it's just so tough, man. I thought it was interesting how they were like, I mean, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And
Yeah.
like, there are a lot of staged photos. Like, we know that. You know what I mean?
But it's like this. There's so many. That's Keith Raniere of the cult Nexium, the
Okay.
sex cult.
Okay.
That's the Dalai Lama right there, associating himself with that.
Yeah.
3 weeks after he did that, he started the Dalai Lama Trust. They got
Who
$2
did?
million in donations to the Clinton Foundation
Oh shit!
from the Dalai Lama.
All you gotta do is follow the money, dude.
Follow the money.
Dude, here's what I've learned, dude, and you would probably realize this, like when you were in LA, right? And you met everybody's just the same.
Everybody is the same.
It's just like, what do you have access to? You know what I mean? It's like we're all operating on level 3, right? But sometimes, dude, you meet a person, they'll take you up to fucking level 11, and 11's fucking pretty sick up there, dude.
Yeah.
And they're all friends, and they're all just helping each other out.
But
and
they do some weird
and
shit
they're doing
up
some
there.
weird shit up there, dude.
But it's
they're-
level 11, dude.
But they're just people, but they
Yeah.
have more resources up on 11, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, them levels up, everybody wants that little bit more power. I don't care who you are.
you just got more, but you
you
can
want-
do more. You got more money,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
So
they all work together.
And they all work together. They want more power. The more power, the better. So they're going to keep doing every single thing they can, which in this case I think is
Yeah.
to eliminate Trump to
Yeah.
keep their power, because
Maybe.
if he comes out with all this, all their power is gone. Like, it could be in the
Well, why not just kill him? Why is he still alive?
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why is Mel Gibson still alive though too?
Yeah, well, I think they just completely character assassinated him. They made him look fucking crazy.
I think
like,
that's what they're doing with Trump, because I think if Trump winds up mysteriously dead, I think people
he's
will
super-
then know.
Yeah,
They'll be like,
he's not quite on their level, obviously. If whoever they are, we're talking about. What people don't understand is that, like, there are resources, and some people have more than others. Period.
Yeah.
And over a long enough time frame, you can get most of the resources. And if you have most
anybody can if they want to work at it. I mean, for the most part, it's
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if people have done that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would they not can do everything in their power to maintain their resources? You know what I'm saying?
You mean like Trump in this case, or somebody
No,
else?
I'm talking about like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and different things.
It's just
like,
pride,
like,
dude.
Like, these guys are in power, right? Like, they have the money. So it's like Trump is almost on their level. Like he has a lot of money. He's not on that level, right? But he has a lot of money.
Yeah,
but
he's
he's
like
like,
4 billion or
but he
something.
knows enough. He's like a big enough player, maybe just not take out. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know what Trump's overall agenda is,
Yeah.
but I do think that there's going to be a big breakthrough in November. I'm saying November, come the
Well,
re-election.
only time will tell. That's the thing.
I mean, I so wish you would have saw the next two. I'm
I'm
sorry,
gonna.
I'm kind of zoning out because I'm like watching this too.
It's fine, dude.
Um,
I'm gonna fucking watch this.
you, the last two episodes. I wish we could talk about the adrenochrome right now, but it's
Well,
just gonna
tell me
be.
about it.
It's it's all just the trafficking and the horror and the torture that they cause these kids
Yeah.
that increases the adrenaline in their body and stuff like that. And that's why they're saying that they're torturing them and raping them and like they're passing them around at these Hollywood parties because the more rape, the more torture, the more pain they experience, the more adrenaline their body's pumping.
So are they only doing that because are they? So you think it's like a dual benefit? Like they also enjoy it, and then they also
I think
get
some
the
of them get
adrenochrome?
sexual gratification from it. I
Or
think
is it?
some of them are completely evil sickos. I think there's some people, maybe like Zuckerberg said, if that was a true statement, ingesting it is awesome, but watching some of the smaller participants
Yeah.
is hard to watch. So I think there might be people that do it because it keeps you younger
Yeah.
and it increases your lifespan supposedly
Yeah. You think
as
you
long
get
as you
like
can go.
you think you get like X amount of dollars, and they're just like, "Hey, dude, why don't you come chill with us this weekend?
Yeah.
Come hang out,
Come
and
to Little St. James Island.
see what's up."
Come hang out on Orgy
And
Island.
then you get there, and they're like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck, dude? Like,
30
you gotta sign a fucking
30 heroin
An-
needles with baby's blood in them. Just like, hey, man,
You gotta-
shoot it up. You
yeah,
want it?
dude, you gotta sign like a fucking like a what?
Disclaimer.
Yeah, what are the,
NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
Non-disclosure. Yeah, dude. I keep wanting to say like a non-compete for some reason, but yeah, non-disclosure, and it's like, yeah, sign it in blood.
That's one of the biggest things that like on the um, Zuckerberg thing where it said he was at Little St. James Island. I don't think, like you said, he's a smart. I mean, he's smart.
I don't think you would geotag that shit.
He wouldn't have geotagged it.
I think that was fake.
The quote, I believe he might have said that in another interview, but I don't
Yeah.
know if he put that on
These
his
motherfuckers
Twitter.
are all on the same team, though, man.
They are.
Dude, there's only so. I mean, I've said it time and time again, but like,
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you
dude,
on that.
Bezos and Amazon is killing right now, bro. They're killing. He's about to be a trillionaire, man. And I saw he's about to buy AMC theaters. How interesting is that to gain more power? Like, and that's so many people go to the theaters. And you're just buying another distribution channel.
Yep, and he can put whatever he wants out there for. He owns all the companies, so what does he want to put out there for the like the previews and stuff like that? What kind of bias is that going to be leaning towards?
Right.
Like, is he going to try to shove an agenda that way, or is he going to? I don't know. I don't know how big of a key player he is when it comes to like the adrenochrome pedophilia stuff, but I do believe he funds a lot of money into areas that help trafficking.
Who?
Uh,
Bezos? He might, dude. He might.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know what? I think people fuck up in the sense of nobody wants to believe that there's only like a handful of people like running the world. And I'm not saying like, maybe there are. I don't know.
Oh, it's a handful of people.
Dude, I feel like you can probably count on one or two hands the true elites.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Clintons. I think Podesta was in there until
Bush. You think Bush?
Bush.
The
Yeah.
Bushes.
I think Bush.
There was this guy. His name was fuck, dude. I want to pull up my phone, but I don't want to stop the recording because I just started again.
Okay.
Carasso. Fuck, dude. He's this Hungarian billionaire, and he. Yeah, let me do this,
Look it up. You're fine.
dude. Yeah, he's this Hungarian billionaire. He's a philanthropist,
Mm-hmm.
but he
They're all philanthropists, supposedly. More like a full-on rapist.
Hungarian billionaire funds. Why the fuck am I not Florissant? Ferguson.
Yeah, there's actually like on these other episodes, on the last two, what they talk about John Jr., like John F. Kennedy Jr. still being alive and everything like that.
George Soros is his name.
Oh, yeah, I know George Soros.
Yeah.
He funded Antifa. He funded...
Dude, he gave $33 million to the rioting at Ferguson.
yeah, Black Lives Matter. He funded that whole thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's like, all right, well, why would this guy do that? Why are you bringing outside activists into this? Why did you turn this to this local thing into this national thing, and why did you help drag it out? It's like, well, why would somebody do that? And as she pointed out, to drive to drive a divide between people, right?
Well,
because if we're divided, we fall, right? Like, you're just driving a wedge between people.
It's all for ultimate power. They want a new world order. I firmly believe that all this is going on because they want.
Is it a new world order? I don't know if it's a new world order. I think it's just maintaining the status quo. I think everybody wants to. They like the sexy idea of wanting to change everything, but I feel like things have been going how they've been going, and I think they want to keep it going.
Yeah, but when you're at that level of power and you're at that level of money, you get so bored.
Do you?
Dude, they have to. You have to. When you've done everything in your life and you literally can't do it.
But they're new people, though. That's the thing. So this started back in, let's just say it started back in, medieval times, right? Yeah. And then these group of people, they got together, and they're doing weird satanic shit, which we know people in the Hamptons, they do that weird satanic shit. It's on video.
It's everywhere, yeah.
It's true. All the time, it's fucking true. Like, you get together, and you're doing this shit, and then, all right, now we're in power. And then 5 most wanted leaders of ISIS just captured. So
he said that about John McCain when he was taking with those guys.
Yeah.
So Trump posted that. And do you remember when he posted that? The media was like, "Oh,
No.
He can't even get that right."
No.
Well, he was saying that because John McCain was with him, so he was calling him a leader of ISIS too. But the media was like, "Oh, our president's so stupid. He can't even get the numbers right."
Well, meanwhile, we're trying to fucking. That was McCain.
No, that's Osama bin Laden.
No. That wasn't John McCain up there just now.
Yeah.
With those guys,
those
was
four
it?
Guys, yeah.
That wasn't Joe Biden?
No, that was John McCain.
Meanwhile, we're trying to fucking elect Joe Biden as the Democratic.
I know.
That guy can't even remember his fucking name. But my point is, so if there are a handful of people, and these families, they have power, they never really lost it.
No.
They've just gone with the times, and they've grown their empire, right?
That's what I'm saying. They're getting bored.
But are they?
I think
There's
so.
always new people.
There is always new people,
That's what
but
I'm
once
saying.
you've seen so many people, you've met every spectrum. There can be a new person, but you've met somebody just like them.
Yeah.
There's as many people as there are in the world. There's only a certain amount of personality types.
So I guess what's the game that you're playing? What's the game?
I think it's they want a one government world. I think they want to be in such control and that's why they don't want Trump in there, because if Trump goes out and he outs all this stuff, they're all done.
Yeah.
There will be no democratic nothing unless new people come in. I mean, you're taking down the Clintons, you're taking down the Obamas, you're taking down 4 past presidents on the Democratic side, or you're taking down Bill, you're taking down where are they gonna build from there?
Well, if you take down them, you also have to take down the Bushes.
Yeah. The Bushes
sure.
will go down too.
Both all the Bushes, because they're just as bad.
Yep. That was actually kind of a bummer to me, because
I think the Kennedys are pretty fucked up too. I know obviously.
I think they were sexually. They had a lot of sexual prowess to them. I don't think that he was. In the pedophilia stuff. I think he was just.
Who's he?
Wait, are you talking about JFK?
No, I'm talking.
Oh.
He might have been the good one, but I'm saying as a whole, that family's not clean either.
Oh, no.
They're a bunch of fucking.
Robert's.
They're a bunch of bootleggers,
yeah.
And there's some dirty motherfuckers too.
But I'd much rather have a money stealer or something like that than someone who's torturing and killing kids.
But I'm just saying, who's to say that they're not also doing it?
Yeah, that's true.
But
word of mouth gets around.
Their family does have this history of being cursed and everybody dying.
Yeah, that is true.
You think there's a reason for that?
No, I think that's coincidence. Either that or they tried so hard.
Is their family just not about it, so they just keep getting taken out, you think?
I think so. I think the whole family. I think what happened is.
Anything's possible. I don't know.
I think they're so. Because apparently, according to this documentary too, JFK was taken out because he was trying to take down pedophiles too.
Yeah.
So supposedly, and Lincoln.
Yeah, that's what they
Lincoln was
said.
supposed to.
It said Lincoln were the only two.
Yep.
Now, what I do like about JFK is he really was about having the better American people.
He
Like
was.
he was all about like physical fitness and
Yeah.
like being the fucking best. And like
Yep.
we're when are we ever the best?
Yeah.
We always say we want to be the best. Like we have the best. Sure, we have the most kick-ass army, like
Yeah.
military. That's fucking great. Like I'm glad we're not like the pussies of the world. But
Yeah.
on that same note, it's like we're not the best in education. We're not the best in
No.
technology. We're not the best in innovation. Like what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. What do we got? Sports.
We're great at sports.
Yeah,
we're great at
sport.
entertainment and distraction.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at so good at entertainment distraction. That's Kennedy's gravesite.
Oh, is it?
Oh, you don't know about the QAnon yet, do you?
They've been talking about the Q.
Okay.
They introduced that from the very beginning.
Okay. Yeah, the Q.
That was Kennedy's gravesite for real?
Yeah.
The Q for real?
Did you see? Okay, so
I got to go back and just watch so much.
yeah, after this, when you watch the other 2 episodes, but supposedly there was talk that they had a time machine.
Shut up.
Dude, okay, I know it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. But you got to watch it and tell me what you think because I'm not completely on board with that either. But it does line up really weird.
Okay, how?
So basically, they're talking about how I'm not scientific by any
That's
means,
fine.
so I'll probably butcher this.
Listen, hey guys, if you're here for scientific advice, you're
Yeah,
in the wrong fucking
yeah.
spot. We're just
Get
a bunch of morons here just talking some shit for real.
But
I don't know what the answers are.
I don't either. But it's fun to talk about.
Tell me.
I'm gonna try to explain this the best way I
That's
can
okay.
without sounding like an idiot. Wait, what were we on?
Time machine with the Kennedys.
Time machine with the
You
Kennedys.
say
Okay.
things are lining up.
Yeah, they were talking about being a little bit. Okay, so, let me start this off because this will be easier for people to understand. Do you remember when Simpsons came out with that episode a long time ago of Trump being president?
Yeah.
And he was going up the escalator and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody's
seen that
at that stage of the game.
Well, he went and did that again, and they're like in real life, he went and did that, and they're like, "Oh, the Simpsons predicted it, blah blah blah." But
Simpsons
I think
predicted everything. Or
But I
are
think-
we just doing things at the Simpsons? All right, keep going.
no, I think the Simpsons creators are in on it. I think they know what's going on because there's been numerous coincidences that they've predicted, and apparently Trump has been in with his people since the year 2000. Like 2000, he started this whole thing. He's been in this for 20 years, and it's all led up to this moment.
Really?
And when you watch the end of this, and that's what they're talking about with the time travel and stuff, because they're like, if you can bend space, why couldn't you bend time? And they said Tesla was so close to that, and
Tesla is one of our greatest thinkers of ever.
And
One of
it's
the
like,
greatest thinkers of humankind.
I mean, JFK talked a lot about alien stuff too, and
So
so we
the-
reverse engineered. We reverse engineered supposedly the transistor that we use every day. That's made like computers, TVs, everything. The transistor, the common transistor,
Yeah.
was supposedly alien engineered.
Well, that's what Bob Lazar was talking about, right? How?
Oh, he said that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because essentially, like, he was, I can't remember what the sector was in Area 51 that he was at.
S4.
S4, right?
Yes.
And they said, like, everybody was in groups and they kind of had, like, their own little piece of this thing that they're working
That
on.
they're supposed to reverse engineer.
Reverse
Yes.
engineer, right? They're all reverse engineering it. And his was specifically in propulsion.
Yep.
Right?
I remember that. He said there was a machine that worked at 100% efficiency.
And there was like
And there was no heat. There was nothing that came out of it, but it was producing power at 100%
and there's
efficiency.
nothing like it was like
There
magnetic.
was no
it was like magnetic or something to like keep it.
There's like
it
a
was
gravitational,
gravity.
yeah.
Dude.
I had heard that when I heard the thing about the transistor on the internet, so
Yeah.
could be fake. But they said that it was given, not stolen, it was given by the aliens because it was technology that they didn't need anymore.
Really?
So apparently for the longest time our government has been in contact with these aliens and we get their hand-me-down shit.
Well, they did just release the Pentagon just.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's all coming together
dude,
now.
from shit from what was like 2004 or 2014
Yeah.
were the videos that they released.
2004.
Yeah, and like no one's talking about that shit right now, dude. Like what?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I'm starting to believe more in extraterrestrials.
I mean, I don't see why we'd be the only ones in the world or in the multiverse or universe.
Multiverse. I have more an easier time believing that there's other dimensions and that they travel through those than that there's things living up in the
Yeah.
sky in outer space.
What are dimensions? I think we think we know what they are, man, but like,
It's something we couldn't fathom. We could never wrap our head around it.
dude,
It's kind of like trying to think of a new color.
well,
You
it's
just
just
can't
like when
do
you
it.
do psychedelics, right? Like DMT, dude, like you for sure are somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I'm somewhere else. It's not this physical plane. I'm not in my body anymore, dude. Like I'm somewhere else.
So if
And like shape and like the things in which we understand this physical space don't exist in that place. It's weird. It's this different place for sure. But it's like DMT is like that. It's like that gate to that place.
yes, and I've heard. So have you heard of the Indians with the ayahuasca? That old story, the 40 Indians or whatever.
Well, Indians don't do ayahuasca. They usually do peyote, which is like a mescaline.
Mescaline.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. So they, I want to say 40 of them or something like that. It's an old story about how they were all on a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And they all did. I thought it was ayahuasca, honestly. Now that I'm thinking of it,
Yeah.
I thought they did ayahuasca.
Were they Native Americans?
Yeah.
It was probably mescaline and peyote.
Maybe it was
I mean,
something
people
like
do
that.
ayahuasca here, but it's typically found in like the jungles of South America and stuff.
It could have been, but I always thought it was ayahuasca. But either way, yeah, they all took it. They were all sitting around in this like half circle, and there was trees that was like lining the woods.
Yeah.
And they all took DMT, and they all saw the exact same thing coming out of there. So if DMT, or I keep saying DMT, I don't do. So
there
all
are a lot of different psychedelics and plant
so many.
medicines. It was
Yeah,
probably
I'm not a psychedelic guy.
it was probably peyote,
Maybe.
mescaline.
But yeah, they all saw the exact same thing. The elves, the clockwork elves, which
Yeah.
they say are demons,
Uh-huh.
and they say that opening up on DMT or peyote or whatever, it opens up another dimension that is a dimension
Yeah.
that Satan plays in.
Satan. Is it Satan because people didn't understand it? Like, what is Satan? Because here's the thing, man. Here's my experience with a lot of. I think that the concept of Satan is like. It's like this thing that was like conjured up by the people who want to control people. Because if you look at like a lot of. Now I'm just going to start fucking going hard on religions, but like. Especially like within. I always pick on the Bible, especially because, like, obviously there's a lot of corruption and fucked up shit going on with the Catholic Church and kind of Christianity in general. Like, there's a lot of control measures put in place. And if you look at the Bible, it's, like, written from thousands of resources, from thousands of years, and, certain texts were left out, and it was so it's essentially like this game of phone. And it was translated from Hebrew, where certain characters can mean both words and numbers, and sometimes the words don't perfectly translate into English, and these other different so there's a lot of fuckery going on there, right? So then you put together this Bible called the King James Version, right, which is just essentially like, it's a thick one, but it's like it's a propaganda pamphlet to tell people how that's why there's an answer for everything in there. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. Like, it tells people how they should live their life, and a lot of it's based off of fear. You know what I mean? If you don't do this, bad shit's gonna happen. But dude, when you look at a lot of like religious experiences from around the world and the stories, and there's a reason why so many people will take these compounds, whether it's psilocybin or LSD or mescaline or DMT, right? And they have similar experiences, if not the same. Like, no matter where they are when they did it, it's like, man, are these things like helping us like tap into this frequency? I think one of the best ways to explain it, or like one of the best analogies, is like it's like a radio. And it's like, if you're driving down the road and you tune into a radio station, you're hearing that music, but there's all these other different frequencies of radio waves
Going on. Yeah.
You're just not tuned into them, right? So it's like, are these other dimensions, these frequencies? And
I've always thought that too about ghosts. I'm like, is that just people crossing in another dimension?
dude, I don't know, dude. Like
what is it?
Our self, like who you are and like who I am, like Christianity calls it the soul. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of got this weird thing about like calling it a soul, and like I got really weird about God because I feel like religion kind of ruins these things for a lot of people. So I just called it the universe, and then I called it, some people call it energy. You know what I mean? Like we all are energy if we're displaying it in just scientific terms, right? But like we have this essence about who we are
Yeah.
that we all kind of agree, like when this physical body dies, goes somewhere, heaven,
Yes.
hell, whether you call it, you get your rebirth or whatever the case may be. Like, but what I realized whenever I first did DMT was that, like, who I am, like me, what is Adam, is like, is that thing. Like, I have a body, I am not my body.
But
'Cause,
you were your soul or
dude,
universe or
whatever,
energy
I
at
was
that point.
myself. Everything that I
It's
think
just
of,
your consciousness.
my
There
consciousness,
was
like,
no arms, legs. It was
is
just
just
you.
me, dude, and it really freaked me the fuck out my very first DMT experience. And but as I've like thought about it and I mulled over, it's like, dude, like, is that just, are we just tuning into different frequencies and leaving this physical self? And it's like, we say it's in our head, like it's just chemicals and it's in our head and stuff. Because like I close my eyes, like I feel like you have to close your eyes to kind of like transverse into that. Sometimes you have no option, like you're being
Let me
blasted off.
let me ask you this while we're on the subject. When you are in that state of mind, and say you're sitting right here and you're looking, are you seeing?
That's the thing. So here's the thing, especially with DMT, and if you take heavy doses of like different compounds and stuff like that, the experience is no longer in this physical plane. Like for example, like when you do like cannabis or something, like you're experiencing it very physically. It's all here. Like
Yeah.
you're not
You
when
feel
you
grounded.
when you do DMT or you do LSD or something, especially in higher doses. Like with DMT, there's not really much of a choice.
Yeah.
But like when you're blasting off and you're going to these other places, because like when I do DMT, I'm in very much in a different place. I'm there. I really am. And it's like you're not in this physical space. I have tried opening my eyes and I've seen some pretty like trippy, like pretty thick 3D, um, like geometric patterns, different things on DMT. But like you really want to close your eyes and like go in that journey, and you leave this physical space. Like you're not.
So it's like a dream almost.
See, it's hard to explain. Like
I
nothing I
know.
can tell you is
Yeah.
gonna help.
I
You
understand
can only
that.
experience it because you have to understand that everything that you're trying to do and like and trying to like help understand it is based off your own physical experience. Your back all right?
Oh, yes.
Sitting.
Yes.
Get up and stretch if you
It's
need
just
to,
that.
bro.
It's just that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tore me up this morning, buddy.
Dude, that was a light
In
jiu-jitsu
jujitsu.
practice.
We did jujitsu.
But it's like so who's to say like you're not just like you're tuning into that frequency and you're going to this other dimension, whatever that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very possible, and I mean, it could be. A lot of people get freaked out by that because
So people have been doing that for years, though. Whether it's been mushrooms or like I think it was the Akeda bush, which is like the burning bush with Moses, where he talked to God, which is a psychedelic thing. So I feel like a lot of these religious experiences, a lot of them coincidentally do surround psychedelics and different things. And from my experience, dude, this was my original point. This is where I was trying to get to. From my experience, when you're in that place, like a lot of it does have to do with like what's your mental state. Like, are you in a good place whether or not you have like a good experience with some of these compounds? Because I've had some very,
it's the same way with marijuana, though.
it's
too.
with anything, right?
Yeah.
What's your headspace? I don't call them bad trips. I just call them challenging
Yeah.
experiences because you can still get some positive from it. But, dude, whenever I was like in this other place, it's like whatever this energy is, like there's no separation from me and it. It's like it's very accepting and it's all like positive and it's like it's very loving and it's like
Warmth.
and like not even like warmth. The warmth isn't the word, dude. It's like it's just all encompassing, and there's no beginning, and there's no end, and it's like all of a sudden, like time doesn't exist. There is no concept, but you do understand.
What's going on?
No, you understand eternity, and you understand infinity, and you understand what forever really means. You can feel it, like. It's so fucking it's so crazy, and I think when people talk about returning to the universe or returning to God and God is all love and like you are God, like you are made from
In a
God's
sense.
image. We are all gods, dude. When we say we were made in God's image, that is only strictly talking about the physical image, and I don't think that that's what that means. Like, we are God's image, like we are God's essence, like we are that power, like we all have that. And like when you cross over to these places, like, and you experience that oneness, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of these religions are talking about.
Really?
And I think when you start introducing these concepts of like, sure, sometimes you have difficult journeys and some bad trips, and maybe that's what people are. Maybe it's there. Maybe somebody had a fucking terrible trip, and they're like, man, if you're not in a good headspace, if you're living bad and you're doing shit, you're gonna fucking go to that place for probably forever and just live in that chaos. And maybe
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. But I think maybe there's some of that because maybe those weren't good people. But I also think that it was just this concept that was introduced by humans to control others because they know how amazing the one thing is. And it's like, dude, you want this? You fucking listen to me, bro.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I'll
Like,
help.
come get some of this,
And then
bro.
that's where the control is. That's where the greed is. Like, that's where, if you're looking at what humans are, this broad spectrum, like, we are neither good nor bad. We're everything. We just are that, and it's all part of the same thing. But if you start going down towards this end, you start letting that be your driving force. I think that's kind of where some of those like things come into play. People trying to control others.
Yeah. Where do you stand just being on religion? Like, I won't talk too much about it, but
Whatever you want to.
what are your take on Jesus Christ, like the man himself?
I don't know if he was a human being or not. I don't know if he really existed. From my understanding, there's no archaeological evidence that he ever existed other than stories.
But why is he documented in every religion?
That is the truth, right?
So he was, whether you believe he is the Trinity with God and the Holy Spirit, he was somebody that did some,
Possibly.
because he wouldn't be documented in
He's
all religions if he wasn't.
Jesus Christ plays a prominent role in a lot of major religions, right? You know what I mean? So what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know.
What did he do to get all of that?
Yeah.
And it's good.
And also, is it Jesus Christ? Is it just maybe an archetype? Because here's the thing: there's a religion called Zoroastrianism, which predates Christianity by like thousands and thousands of years, and it's essentially the same thing. Same, and you'll see similar stories to Christianity, and you'll see similar archetypes and characters to Jesus Christ, to Mary, to all these different people. You'll see them with different names, like and I think in Egyptian it's like Horus and some. I'm not gonna fucking know all the names, but you'll see these same characters in different religions also too. So it's like, what is that?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that's just where it comes into faith. What you want to believe, what puts you in.
Faith comes. I'm not gonna tell anybody what to believe.
Yeah, me neither.
But it's
I'm
like
not that way.
I sometimes I think these man-made rules is where it gets kind of squirrely.
It does sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a fine line of, especially with interpreting stuff, and I mean, I've done a lot of reading on the Bible. I haven't read the whole thing,
Yeah.
but it's hard to understand.
I've studied the Bible a lot.
Brendan is a good person to talk to. That's my brother, for people who don't know, but
Yeah.
he's very well versed. I mean,
Yeah.
over myself.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be no smarter than
Yeah.
Joe next door, but as
Dude.
far as he's said some stuff that
Brendan's smart.
yeah, it really makes me.
Well, and here's the thing, man. Like I wrestled with this idea a whole lot because, like, you know, growing up here, like, we're in the Bible Belt, we're
Yep.
in the United States, we're in the Midwest. You know, it's a very religious area, and Christianity is predominant religion. So it's like I've always wrestled with this my whole life. I can remember being a little kid at the YMCA. I was probably 8 or 9. I didn't really get in trouble, but it was kind of a thing. Like, I made this girl upset because I was like, "How do you know the Bible's real?" I go, "It was written by people." I go, "People lie all the time. Like, how do you know?" And she got really upset about it. So I've always questioned this, like, my whole fucking life. And, like, I've grown, like, my uncle is a Pentecostal pastor. Like, that's what he does for, like, so it's like I've always had this thing with it, and I've always really wrestled with it. Like, you know, I've been hot. Like most people, you're hot, you're cold, you're hot, you're cold. You're usually hot whenever you're going through some hard shit. You know what I mean? But, like, it just never felt right. You know what I mean? Like, I've drank the Kool-Aid before too, and, like, just never felt right. But then, like, I've studied a lot of the Bible, and I've studied a lot of world religions too, and that really helped me, like, be like secure in my own like conclusions and beliefs and
Yeah.
things that kind of like led. And then it was hard to like say I don't, because I'm not Christian, and I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in the Bible. I think there's some great lessons in there, and I think if you use that to guide your life, great.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If you're not fucking up anybody or hurting anybody, that's all good. But like it was like this exploration of like study and like I think if you don't understand your religion, which a lot of people don't even understand the shit that they believe, and you don't understand other people's religions, and you can't take like this step back and be like, why do I believe this? Like, do you just believe it because that's what you've been taught and indoctrinated
Myself?
or just anybody?
Well,
You know, if you grew up in Asia, you'd probably be Buddhist.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's what the older I got, like I grew up in church and everything like that, and it was fun. Like I mean,
Yeah.
my parents weren't like, no, you have to go this
Yeah.
crazy over the top people. They weren't like that. But I mean, as I got older, I did stray away more from church itself, but I feel myself like I believe in God. I'm Christian.
Yeah.
Like I completely differ from what you say, but it's just opinions and
It's all
I'm completely
opinion.
fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I just found myself being happier because it hasn't been till recently that I realized the stuff in my life that makes me most afraid or upset is the stuff I don't understand.
Yeah.
So now when I have an issue in dealing with anxiety and stuff my whole life, if I have an issue, I study it until I understand it.
Yeah.
Because humans are only scared of what they can't understand. If you can understand it, you're not going to be scared of it.
Yeah.
You're going to overcome it the best way you can.
That's true.
So like I found I mean I've actually read the Bible a lot more, even getting away from church. I'm not saying like I get away from church. I just haven't gone. Like I'll go with my parents sometimes when I get back. It's not like I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, screw church, I'm done." But I just felt with just studying the Bible and personal time, I just felt closer to God
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of with getting the religion and all of that out of the way, or if you do this, this is bad, and this instead of the love aspect of
Yeah,
it.
I think
Because there is
religion
a lot of over the top Christianity, and they scare a lot of people off.
it's with anything. There's extremists in everything, right? Whether it's
But
Muslim
I mean, there's
or
some like
Christianity or
but there's just some that are
anything.
so over the top that give it a bad name, and I'm just like, it's hard to differentiate for people like
Yeah.
the difference between the actual religion itself and being close with God.
I think religion messes up a lot of spirituality.
I do too.
You know what I mean? Like I had a hard time. I think like God became a dirty word to me for the longest time. Like it just didn't feel right so I just always called it the universe. But now it's like the universe is God. Like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, dude, whatever our monkey mouth says, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just a noise we make with our mouth. It's just
Yeah.
how we're kind of under. It doesn't really encompass the full magnitude of these things that we're talking about. You know what I mean? So like I just kind of like I'll call it God. Like what I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna call it a he.
Yeah, it's more than
That force, that power.
well, it's more than you can
fucking,
fathom. It's more than
dude.
anybody could fathom.
Yeah, and it's not a fucking he, dude.
Yeah,
Like that's
it's
crazy to think like we just put our own understanding on these things
Mhm.
and we just say it's law. And we can't even be like, well, I believe this, but I understand that, you know, it's probably more.
Yeah.
More than what I understand.
That's what I'm saying. Like I believe in God. I believe Jesus Christ was a man. I believe all that, but where was I going with that?
Well, let me ask
That
you.
one flew out.
That's okay. Let me ask you
Happened
this.
again.
So, how do you explain Noah's Ark?
In which aspect?
I mean,
Just in general?
yeah, I mean, because according to the Bible, that's real and that happened.
I mean, if that's all what you want to believe, if God is who He says He is, and God is this all-encompassing thing, He could have literally said, "Hey, Noah, here." He gave him the plan, said, "Here, this is where you're going to get the wood. This is where you're going to do that." You could build an ark like that if you
Yeah.
had all the equipment and all the stuff. I mean, God could have. If
You can build an ark, right?
yeah,
But,
if God's who He says He is, He could have snapped His fingers and
well,
the ark would have been there.
and then there's gonna be 2 of every animal in the ark for 40 days. What are the lions gonna eat?
But
Lions eat.
If it's
lions
God-
eat zebras.
that's what I'm saying. If it's God's plan and who He says He is, snap His fingers. Those animals aren't hungry anymore until they're
But that
ready
was
to be hungry.
That's not what it said. That's
I-
not what it said.
I need to look into it more.
That's not what it said. How do you get 2 of every animal in there? What about all the insects?
Ooh,
Exactly.
we don't need them.
Exactly.
We don't need insects.
Exactly, dude.
He just had them in little cricket boxes.
That's the point. Nobody thought that shit through, bro. Nobody thought that shit through. How did Jonas get swallowed by a whale? Was the whale an alien ship?
An alien ship?
Dude, people Was it? Did he get swallowed by some like alien ship, and then that's when he came back and he said it was God? Are the aliens God? Did the aliens help us fucking build pyramids and shit? Seriously, bro.
Yeah, who
Seriously.
knows,
If
man?
if you're a
That's so
primitive
crazy.
ape human being and some crazy shit happens, you're gonna call God.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know what the fucking answer is, man.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
But
But it's fun to think about.
I'm gonna bring it back to where we started before we got on this long off tangent. This is where it was. So you think that the creators of The Simpsons are time travelers?
No, no,
And
no, no, no.
well, not you, but like that's what was that they were time. The guy was a time traveler, and then that's how he is predicting all of the shit that's happening.
No, I don't believe that it's the. That's why I need you to watch this because there's so many key components for it. Then I
Yeah.
don't know all the names of the people.
Yeah.
But supposedly he's been in with this, like I said, since 2000. He's been planning it for 20 years. He's
Not
got
Trump.
Trump.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the creator of The Simpsons.
No, that's where it comes
Oh,
in though
okay.
because they had the Trump. They've had numerous stuff with Trump before.
Yeah.
And him being president and stuff.
Ah.
And so it's like they knew and they've been planning this for 20 years, and that's Trump's way of just screwing with like the
Oh, like Trump's been
elites.
working with those guys.
No, like with the Simpsons people.
Yeah.
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 So it's like his way of saying, "Hey, I'm
Ah.
coming for you, and there's nothing you can do about it."
Oh,
He's
really?
like, "You guys want to put your stuff in the open? I'm going to put my stuff in the open."
Huh.
He's like, "But I'm so far ahead of you guys because I've been planning this for 20 years
Yeah.
that I already am 10 steps ahead of you."
Damn.
So he's just waiting until November to release it.
Where does Pizzagate fall into this shit?
That's pedophilia. That was
Yeah,
just
so
Comet
that's
Ping
right
Pong. It's just a place that they,
this is where they did it.
yeah,
This pizza parlor.
some speculate yes, some speculate no. It's just where they would traffic them into, and then they'd take them other places, and then, but apparently, and I never fact checked this, so this could be completely false.
Yeah.
But apparently, when that place went down or stuff, it's closed down now. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
But a guy went in there and was shot the place up apparently. But the only thing he hit were the computer servers in the back, and this was right around the time Hillary Clinton was.
That's so interesting how that shit happens, right? Like
Yeah.
apparently this catastrophe happens, but only
And nobody was hit. He
Yeah.
said that he went in and started just machine gunning up the place, and it only went through the walls in the back and destroyed the computer servers that they had back there.
for real. Oh wow.
Yeah. But that could be
Yeah.
fake. I don't
Who
know.
knows? Who knows? Who knows? I know, like, my favorite conspiracy. We were talking 9/11, right? Because, dude, ever since I was a little kid, before I knew anything, before I even researched it, I thought that looked like a controlled
Demolition. Yeah.
It looked like that, right? But then, like, you start hearing things like, or you start seeing the evidence of, okay, well, a plane hit the Pentagon, but a hole like the size of a Volkswagen's there, and then there's no evidence of a plane anywhere. Or a plane crashed out in the field, and they can't even find the black box,
Yeah.
and there's no debris. Like,
That's what.
what is that?
It's so. But it's weird too because that's something that's never happened before.
What?
9/11. Nothing like that's
On that scale?
on that scale.
You don't think?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Pearl Harbor was pretty big, and I mean,
yeah, but that was
that's,
a war. That was during war. Like,
no, that's what kicked us
Well,
off into the war. But it's argued that it's almost the same type of event.
yeah, I guess.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a catastrophe
It's
that
to start more war.
that got us onto the stage, right?
I believe that that's what 9/11 was for, to keep going with the war, because I want to believe that they
We
wanted the
weren't
money.
in war at that time.
That's what I'm saying, to start
To
things
get us back
up.
into some
To
shit,
get us
right?
back into
Right.
it, yeah.
So that's kind of like the argument, right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Bush,
too.
money, oil.
Oh, yeah.
Weapons of mass destruction
Because-
that weren't there, and
because
then
it
you
was-
start taking in the banks into
Yeah,
the
it's right after they started pulling troops out.
right. So
So
I
they
mean,
know war's going away. Oh, they're pulling the troops out. Well, our money's going to go away then. Let's fire this bitch back up.
Yeah.
Send a plane into it.
well, that's kind of like the same thing with Pearl Harbor. Like, from my understanding, like it was understood that there was going to be a hit on Pearl Harbor. Like people knew,
Yeah.
and nobody did anything. And then we entered into World War II because of that, right? I think it was two, right? And
Yes.
yeah, because it was in 40 something.
Yeah, Iwo Jima. So
So yeah, so it's like that's what got us into World War II. So like, wouldn't that be like the same thing?
yeah,
Pretty similar.
yeah. I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But kind of what I was saying, where I was going with it, is it looked like in controlled demolition from 9/11.
Yeah.
But kind of what I was getting at is that's the first time a skyscraper's been hit
Oh,
by
yeah.
a big plane. So there's all these possibilities that can happen. Maybe this was a freak accident and it hit just right where it did implode. Maybe the plane hit at just a perfect angle where it did obliterate it, where it didn't obliterate it, it just kind of sliced through. Like, I don't know. I don't technically believe that that's the case.
Yeah.
I think it was an inside job, but I mean, there's still always, you can never eliminate anything.
I don't see why not. I feel like people always try to discredit stuff because they're like, oh, so you think there's like all these people and everybody's keeping the secret and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't think there has to be a whole bunch of people that know everything. I think a lot of things are very compartmentalized and, there's some.
Well, there's so much trauma and fear attached to something like that. People aren't even going to even go for the bigger picture. They're just like, this is a tragedy. This happened. People are died.
And all of a sudden, you're
they
the
don't
asshole.
realize, yeah, and you're the asshole. They don't realize that our government will kill people.
They've done it.
All the time, mass genocide. That's what I'm saying. But some people don't even realize that.
Dude, they've tested on people here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
They do it.
Yeah.
It happens.
It's everywhere.
Humans are humans.
Yeah. And it's like some people just won't accept the fact that there's more going on out there. But now, like I said, people are starting to wake up.
Yeah.
So people are starting to wake up with this Fauci stuff that's getting sent out, which I think is great. I love that people are waking up to this, even if it's just small stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even if they don't go
Stay
deep.
woke, motherfucker.
Yeah, even if they don't go deep into the rabbit hole. They can stay at the top of the rabbit hole for all I give a shit, as long as they understand that they are lying to us. The overall government,
yeah,
in the elitists.
Well, whether or not you fully believe it or don't believe it, or it's at the very least, it's like an interesting thought.
Yeah,
exercise.
It's all fun to think about.
I mean, hey man, entertain some shit. You know what I mean?
Just to sit here and talk like this, and I mean, someone could be like, man, these guys are nuts. Or somebody could be like, oh, dude, I have this theory on this too.
Yeah.
And then share with us. I'm like, okay, well, that pieces together with our theory.
Dude.
So now we have 3 pieces that are matching up instead of 2. So that's why I like talking about it.
I'm sure plenty of people think I'm fucking nuts. And
me too.
That's totally cool, man. It's
look at me. I got pink socks on, a camo shirt, a haircut that hasn't been cut in
and
ever.
I don't know what the fucking, I don't know everything that's going on, but man, things are just so interesting. Like I said, I had a guy, his name's Chris Grimes. If I actually had him on the podcast, and we'll probably talk again. But he sent me this whole huge thing, and we're talking about Australia and all the shit going on over there. But he was listing all these people who are coming out as pedophiles, and I don't know if I believe all of them or not. But he was listing a whole bunch of different companies, and I thought it was very interesting how not too far after Harvey Weinstein got convicted, the CEO of Disney, fucking
everybody's stepping down.
It was was it Disney, Harley Davidson, I think maybe MasterCard. It was
it's just because they want to be out of the limelight so much, they're willing to give up their companies because I believe that they're in on it with the pedophilia rings and stuff like that, or they're donating or they're helping out in some way.
Yeah.
And they just want to distance themselves so far from the spotlight, they're willing to give up their multi-billion-dollar companies because they know they're screwed.
It's crazy. And then like I was telling you yesterday, the number 2, the right-hand man of the Pope, last year was arrested and had a secret trial in Australia, and that information didn't even get released until February, March of this year.
It's like Tom Hanks being kept in Australia.
I don't know what's going on, man. I would like to think Hanks isn't.
I would too, man. I would too. But dude, you go to his Instagram, he posts a picture, hundreds, thousands of comments. Just, you pedophile, I can't wait for justice.
Yeah. But what does that mean? That you can find 1,000 idiots to comment?
That's what I'm saying. But I would just think that there would be a more damage control on someone like him.
He's supposed to be one of the nicest guys in Hollywood.
That's what I've heard too.
So some of it just seems kind of a little weird. Oprah, maybe. There are a lot of pictures of Oprah with Weinstein and shit like that, dude.
24,000 comments on this one.
I thought it was interesting how in that video they were talking about how all of these producers and shit in Hollywood, especially in Nickelodeon stuff, how they're pedophiles and shit.
Dan Schneider was a big pedophile,
Yeah.
apparently.
And it's like you start pointing out these high profile people and how they have all these pedophile friends. Like that's interesting because I have 0 pedophile friends. Like
Yeah, me
why
too.
are all these rich people have a whole bunch of pedophile friends? That's really fucking weird. And
That's like
we don't question that.
that's what they're talking about Justin Trudeau on there and how he hangs out with all the pedophile people, but he's never been caught with. I'm like, why would you associate yourself with those people unless you just wanted to be around the power?
Yeah.
They all want that power, and they're willing to do whatever they can to keep that power. And right now, that may be releasing a man-made virus to get Trump out of office so they don't get outed. Because if Trump's not on the stand anymore, no one's going to take his word for anything.
Huh.
I mean, he gets...
Were you just looking up something?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to show you the Hanks thing.
Oh.
It's just...
Oh, yeah, all the comments.
It's just, so he posted... Okay, this was April 29th was his last post. He said, here's last week's bag of plasma. Such a bag. After the paperwork, it's easy as taking a nap. He just said, thank you, UCLA.
And he's still in Australia?
Apparently not. He said UCLA.
So he's back here. So then that would kind of debunk.
Well, where is it? I saw one. But no, look, I mean, literally every post. Wow, everyone is waking up from Russia with hate, the Epstein list, Pizzagate. These are all comments after one of another. America's waking up. Trump is draining our swamp. It's like all these people, which I feel bad for Tom Hanks if that's not the case. Because these people have just completely ruined him. But
I don't think they did. But also, here's the thing, man. Maybe because people were talking about Bill Cosby doing some crazy shit for a very, very long time.
he got popped for it.
For a very long time. People knew Bill Cosby was fucking up people since the 90s.
Everybody in Hollywood said, we all knew about it.
Forever.
They all know. Everybody in Hollywood knows about the pedophilia.
Brad Pitt was talking about. That was one of the things that they talked about.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt was.
He's like, of course it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, that's just what goes on. They call it the boys' club.
That's a good old Missouri boy. We can trust Brad Pitt.
We can trust Brad Pitt. And Mel Gibson. Brad Pitt and Mel Gibson.
They're not crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta be a little crazy to be in Hollywood.
You do.
Right? To be an actor.
You do.
You gotta be a little crazy.
Well, I mean, even playing roles where you have to just get into that character, I feel like eventually takes tolls on your overall mindset.
When did actors become so cool? Because in high school and in college and growing up, maybe a better way to say, sound, when I was in high school, you sound like a loser. Like growing up, those kids were usually a little bit more off. Right, some of them were like social butterflies and super popular, like drama people. But actors and drama people weren't.
Yeah, because they're always in a role.
They weren't usually the most popular people growing up.
They're always trying to. They want.
Right.
Maybe they want to look for some sort of.
They're just playing make believe up there, and they do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the art, and I think it's spectacular. But when did those people? And not all actors are dorks or anything like that, because there are a lot of cool ass people.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in general, people who performed, those aren't the most popular kids growing up, growing up in theater. You know what I'm saying? You're usually a little dorky kind of.
Because
and maybe I'm off base. Sorry if I'm fucking
No, you're
offending
completely
anybody.
right.
But in general, drama kids were kind of geeky, right?
Yeah.
If you kind of think of it in that stereotype. When did those become the people that we look up to for everything? To have the fucking answers, to be the coolest people. I get it, they got the money, and that's and that's what we're attracted to. But when did that personality all of a sudden switch and become cool? Because all they're doing is up there pretending.
Well, it's always been, and I still think to this day that it's still a nerdy thing. If you're in high school, you see the drama kids, and you're not like, oh, these kids are just doing it for extra. That's why they don't You're just on a whole nother level when you're getting paid that kind of money and in Hollywood and that fame.
But
and
everybody,
but everybody wants to be so attached to that fame, dude. You see people, they'll get a like or something from a movie star, and they're like, oh, he just liked this. If they can be attached to that person in just the smallest amount, and that's why they think it's so cool. But if it's a kid in high school who doesn't have fame and money, and he likes one of their things, well, he's a great actor. Yeah, he doesn't have fame and money. I don't give a shit what he thinks.
Right.
But the worst actor in Hollywood could like my thing. Oh, he liked it. He liked it.
But
so
but let's just say that kid and that Hollywood are essentially the same person, but just with a bigger microphone, right? That's the kind of
the kid in high school.
The kid in high school
could be better.
Yeah.
Than the guy.
But they're not an expert in anything except just pretending. and all of a sudden we just listen to these people.
And at the end of the day,
like
they're pretending.
That's it.
That's it.
I had a tattoo artist. He I'm gonna fuck it up, but he talked about like wizards and you don't have time. Mike, the camera's off, dude, and I'm not gonna turn it back on.
Oh no, I just didn't want it to go.
Oh, he was talking about like wizards and why they call it Hollywood, because that was like this particular like type of wood that was used for like these sticks to like
Beat unsuspecting children.
not even like that, but like create these visions and these images, and like that's what Hollywood does. Like they portray, pictures and movies, and I don't know.
That's what it is. That's why
I'm fucking it up.
I wanted to like with this whole California thing about me wanting to move out there and everything. I got to thinking about it, and California for me is just so nostalgic that I want to experience it when I have the money to do so. I don't want to make my life out there. Like, I don't want to try to make my way out there. But I want to experience it for an extended amount of time.
It's interesting, man. The people out there are interesting. I love the vibes, though.
They're very nice people. Everybody's very...
That's not been my experience.
Really?
Oh, man.
Everybody I met was so nice, dude.
I met some assholes in L.A. for
Really?
sure, bro. I like San Diego a lot better than L.A. because...
I heard San Diego is the most beautiful
so fucking
city
beautiful,
in the
dude.
United States.
It's so chill. It's so green. We were talking about we like the greenery. It's so much greenery. You can drive around without fucking like being stuck in traffic all day.
Yeah. Unlike LA.
Yeah. But even LA's traffic it's bad, but it's not awful. Like, I mean, it's not like unbearable if you have the right mindset, I guess is what I mean. Because like I knew I was gonna be in traffic. You're moving like 30 miles an hour the whole time, whatever. Like,
well, it's like what Joe Rogan said on one of his podcasts a long time ago, and this has stuck with me to this day because it actually helped me through life. Like he said, the situation that you're in now is what you're going to be in. And he literally said, if it's driving in traffic for 2 hours to get to work, that's the situation you're in. So if you're going to sit there and bitch about it all day, he said, you're only doing damage to yourself.
Right.
He said, either change the situation or accept it for what it is.
Yeah, man.
And that's
I
what
remember he was talking about that. He was talking about a comic who was like, he drove to Boston every day. He's like, well, this is just what I'm doing right now. I'm driving. Like,
was it Mark Normand that said that?
Who?
I think it was Mark Normand. Said it on Joe Rogan's podcast.
No, Rogan was telling a story of a comic that he knew back in the day who used to like drive up from Boston to New York every day or some shit like that. Or like twice a week or something. It was like a 2-hour drive or some shit like that, and he would just do it. And instead of bitching and complaining and stuff, he'd be like, well, this is just what I'm doing right now. And then he would just do it.
Yeah, that's the way to be, man. Anytime I'm having something like... It's so stupid and so little, but anytime I'm having something where I'm just kind of like struggling or I'm just pissed off about something, I kind of just think about that. I'm like, this is a situation I'm in, and I have a good life, and I've been blessed, so I'm just going to suck it up. And even though it sucks sometimes, I'm just like...
I always tell myself I'm not going to die.
Me too. That's how I got over my anxiety. I always said, like, I used to have such bad anxiety, like I couldn't even get out of the house and stuff like that, and it wreaked havoc for about... probably a good 8 months on me where I like couldn't get out of the house. Like didn't even want to see anybody.
Anxiety's tough, dude. It's
Real
like
tough.
It's like in the pit of your stomach, and it's just like.
And that's the thing a lot of people don't realize is anxiety comes from your stomach.
Oh, dude, it's
your whole
hard.
body is controlled by your gut, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Oh, dude, your gut's like the
100%. It's the 100% what makes you feel good and what makes you feel bad.
Yeah, dude, but like you start getting anxiety and like it hits you like in the pit of your stomach and like just right there, and like it can even get so bad where like it radiates through your limbs and you like shake and you can't like not like dude. I've been there, dude. It's tough.
I used to. That's actually my brother was living in St. Louis at the time, and I hadn't seen him in a long time because I couldn't get the nerve to just drive down there. I don't know what it was. I wasn't scared of dying in a car crash. I just felt like.
Where were you?
Huh?
Where were you at?
I lived up north, so close by Hannibal, kind of close to Iowa.
Oh,
That's
really?
where I grew up at. Yeah, I grew up on 500 acres, like farm town. I just moved down here 5 years ago.
Okay.
And
And was it just the big city that was kind of weird for you? Just
No, I love it.
or what was it? I mean, at the time, where was the anxiety coming from?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's just a chemical imbalance, I guess. I never really had anything leading up that would make me have a panic attack. It would just come on. Like I literally wouldn't even be thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'd just be cruising, listening to the radio. I'd get that pit in my stomach. I'd get that shake. I'd get real hot, and then I feel like I was gonna throw up or pass out. And I'm like, dude, I did. And then one day, I was listening to a radio show. You remember Opie and Anthony?
Yeah.
So I used to listen to them for hours and hours when I was at my old job. Just headphones in all day, every day.
Yeah.
I probably listened to 1,000 hours of them over a course of a year. And Anthony Cumia had said something, and he had talked about in his early 20s dealing with anxiety, and he was like going through the same stuff that I was.
Yeah.
And he's like, and one day I said, what am I so worried about? I get this worried every time I try to do something and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
He said, and the worst thing that is going to happen is I'm going to die and I'm not going to have to feel this anymore.
Right.
And that's how I've lived my life ever since, and I haven't had an anxiety attack since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Athletics have really helped me with that.
Athletics helped too. Jiu-jitsu helped me big time last year. That's what I was telling, and why I really wanted to get in. Like, I don't have any plans to be a big fighter or anything like that, but just the amount of the health benefits I had, like last summer when I was going like every night of the week and stuff like that, was just, it's unmatchable.
What people don't realize is that your mental health is directly connected to your physical health, and it all plays, and your body is fed and nourished by like what you put in it, what you eat.
Exactly.
And that is going to affect like the health of your gut, which is going to affect the nervous
system.
Brain.
So it makes sense. The nervous system is all out of whack. You're going to get those nerves, which leads to anxiety. Like, it's controlling your nerves.
Well, we didn't know so much was going on in the gut for the longest time.
Yeah,
dude. Nobody knew. Like,
well, my mom had been about that for a long time. She was very adamant on it because we had anxiety when we were young too.
Yeah.
And she had my whole life said it's diet. You need good diet and this and that. And,
yeah.
And I was like, oh no, it can't be. It's got to be the brain. How's the stomach connected to it and this and that? But I realized getting older and stuff too, there's pressure points and stuff that like chiropractors know, and it's helped.
Yeah.
Like in your back and in your ribs and stuff that press on wrong parts of the nervous system that can be out of whack, that'll cause more anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. I had a guy, his name's Dr. Jacob Scherer. He's a chiropractor in, I think in Godfrey, just across the river there.
Godfrey, Illinois.
Yeah, and he does, he works with a lot of MMA fighters and sports performance, and I think he teaches at SIUE, and he's like, lots of different certifications. One of them was like acupuncture is one of his trainings. But,
I've never done that, but I heard something.
But yeah, he was talking about that, man. I'm gonna sit down with him again. He's just a wealth of fucking knowledge, man. Yeah. Just a lot of information about just health across the board. But he was talking about that, man, like just the pressure points, and you know, because that's what acupuncture, is
just releasing that pressure.
Yeah, dude, in these different areas, and it's like, wow, our body is so connected, and we just don't realize we don't have the understanding. That's why, like in medicine, medicine's just trial and error. Like people don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like
there's no magic.
You're talking in this, the doctors are just teaching what they've been taught. Like they're just doing what they've been taught, and a lot of that's been taught by like the Rockefeller, Rothschild Institute, and shit like. But either way, there are a lot of good doctors out there. They just want to do best, do what's good. And
I believe most doctors are
as people on the individual level, right?
Yeah.
But it's like they just have bad information.
Yeah.
And
a
lot of them are working off of like a pharmaceutical model, and a lot of these guys get way down into debt like everybody else, and they're just doing what they're fucking taught. It's just
everybody's going to learn from their predecessor, so whatever they've learned, whatever just gone through history, is what everybody's going to do, unless somebody figures out another way. But then still, the next person's learning from him, so you're just always learning from the person before.
What information is getting like assimilated and taught? It can take 20 to 30 years for new science to actually make its way into academia. Yeah. So that means you're learning super old information, right? And throughout the years of medicine, like we've done things like, oh, we'll just remove your appendix. You don't fucking need that. Or, oh, we'll just remove your tonsils. You don't need that. But then come to find out, like, oh, shit, we didn't have an understanding of what this thing did. We thought it did nothing. We thought it wasn't that important. But it actually does far more than we realize. Like, for example, with the tonsils, dude, people who get their tonsils removed at a young age later in life, they end up getting sick more often. They end up typically having allergies, maybe developing asthma. Like, there's this cascading effect that was unforeseen when we removed that. And it's just like, I think we just have to understand that we don't have the fucking understanding. You know what I mean? That we think we do. It's just hubris to think that we know it all.
Yeah.
Because the doctors in 1905 were just as confident as the doctors in 2005.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And I think that we understand that the doctors in 2005 are a whole lot better than those doctors, right? So it's like,
it's just they're going to be confident if they know everything there is out there. Because I mean, it's just, you even look at like video gaming and stuff like that. Back in the day, you're like, they can't come out with anything better than this.
like, how can they get better?
How could they get?
How can the graphics
You're looking at
get any
Nintendo
better?
64, and you're like, wow, these blocks look amazing. How could they do anything different than this? And then I will after, but I'll start forgetting shit.
All right. No worries, bro. We're about to wrap up here in a second.
Yeah, that's fine, because I got 2 piss.
Yeah, we can just wrap up now. We're at right at an hour and 40. So, yeah,
That's a
dude, we've been
decent
going. This was a good conversation.
I would eventually, if you want to have me back, again, after you go through the adrenochrome stuff. Even if it's just a short one.
I'll probably finish this today for sure, dude, because this is some fascinating shit. I'll probably end up going back to 6 and just watching 6 through 10. Because you don't want to miss shit.
No.
You don't want to miss
That's why I
shit,
watched it
dude.
so
And
many
she
times.
drops a lot of information really fast, and I don't want to necessarily pause and take all the time, but it does help to start researching. She starts pulling up names. You can't start, like when she said the founder of Reddit, was found dead, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, all these
Did you see the Julian Assange thing? Oh, no, that's an 8.
Yeah.
Or 9.
I don't think they got to that one yet.
Okay.
So yeah, dude, it's just like, what the fuck, man. So, all right, brother, let's wrap this up. Anything you want to direct people to or anything like that? Socials? Do you care? Does it matter?
No, it don't matter to me. I mean, you'll have my Instagram on there and stuff like that.
It'll all be in the notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's SC for free on Instagram, but I don't do no cool shit usually.
Yeah, people are
Once in a while.
gonna think we're fucking crazy on this one, but hey,
Even
man,
better. Keeps them away.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
All right, Skyler.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, brother. I'll talk to y'all later.
Yep, see ya.